Sadnam. We are Jen and Ramtin from Heart Center Revolution.
Our intention with this podcast is to share the best of Kundalini Yoga and conscious living with you so you can live a more heart-centered life. Welcome to episode 7 of our Heart-Centered Revolution podcast. In this episode, we are going to do a deep dive into the first chakra. And then at the end, we are going to do a pranayama that is based on practicing the Mulbandh or the root lock. So in most Kundalini yoga classes, you'll be asked at some point to pull up on the pelvic floor, to squeeze your root lock. And so at the end of this episode, we're really going to get into the technicality of how to do that correctly. And then we'll practice suspending our breath while doing the Mulbandh, because it relates to the first chakra and balancing the first chakra. If you are unfamiliar with the chakras, you can pause this episode, go back to episode 6, where we review what the chakra centers are in detail, kind of do a deep dive on what a chakra is, and then come back to this episode and it might give you a deeper understanding. Before we jump into Ramtin's class, I wanted to share a basic overview of the first chakra. The first chakra is called the root or Muladhara chakra. The element associated with it is earth. The color is red. The mantra for the first chakra is I am. In the body, it is associated with the legs, spine, adrenal glands, and bladder. If your root chakra is in balance, you feel grounded, stable, in connection with your community, like you have a tribe, a foundation, and you are open to receive. If your first chakra is out of balance, you may feel fatigue, unsafe, unstable, and lacking a sense of identity or of knowing who you are. Some non-Kundalini ways to balance your first chakra are to do some gardening, spend time in nature, eat root vegetables and immune-boosting foods, and to sit under a tree and feel the earth beneath your feet. As we jump into Ramtin's class here, he's actually responding to a question or a comment by a couple of the students, because Ramtin had just reviewed or started to review the areas of the body that are associated with the first chakra. And one student asked about the reproductive organs, because sometimes they're associated with the first, sometimes with the second. You kind of see it contradicting in some ways. And then the legs and the feet are associated with the first chakra. But there were some questions from the students about the specificity of that and why there's some overlap sometimes. And so we'll jump into Ramtin's answer.
All the chakras, we look at this whole system very holistically. It's not like, okay, first chakra and only the feet are, part of the first chakra. Again, that association is because when we want to balance or clear or unblock that energy vortex that is called the first chakra, root chakra, then we focus more, intensely in that area. But as you clear other parts, other chakras, second, third, whatever, it all is intertwined. Those are tools also, right? So they say the color associated with that first chakra is color red, right? So you could utilize that tool now, the color red, to clear. So if you find yourself working, if you're an artist, you don't have to be an artist, but if you're an artist, you could probably connect that association a little better. If you just work like colors, if you just, that's something that when you do your meditation, your visualization, you see, color, it gives me a sense of calm and centeredness and all that. Then use that color. Use the red, use that aspect of that tool, the tool you have to balance or clear that chakra. Color red, right? You could simply, most of the meditations for clearing chakras, they actually use guide you to visualize a wheel that's going in circle in clockwise, and you see the color red, maroon color, velvet red color that you are visualizing. You could do that, As you walk, walking is a way of clearing your first chakra, balancing the first chakra. Standing up straight, you square, having your hips, squared. That's a way of connecting and to Mother Earth also, and then clearing your chakra. Front bends also. So again, when we are, that's the foundation. I find that the first chakra is our foundation to create what we want, the life that we want to create, and live within the purpose you want to live in. So naturally, like when you are as babies, it says that the first 40 days of our growth, we really are developing and creating that first chakra in our system, in our body. So as parents, when we know that, we do provide the environment for that first chakra energy to grow within that baby's body, right? Or whatever else, sound, maybe colors, of red colors, maybe around in the room for the baby to just see it, and it strengthens that area. So what are we developing as we strengthen our first chakra as adults, now that we know that this chakra is associated with, this, it's the foundation, and it's the first chakra, right? It's the first chakra. So think of that like in anything in life you want to create, right? Any goal you have in any area of your life. You want to attract something, right? To have it. So the right, it says here, to have, that's associated, your right on this planet, in this lifetime, as in the earthly life you have as human beings, is that associates with the first chakra is to have, and to receive, and to get. So as you strengthen this chakra, you strengthen that the energy of having. You deserve that. You deserve having. So if you don't think you deserve something, that's something in the first chakra area that you want to work on. And that opens the receptivity for you to receive. You've come to this earth, you kind of let go of any other belief system that you had culturally, religiously, and family culture also. You open yourself that I'm here to have what I desire in a desireless way.
I wanted to elaborate a little bit here on what Ramtin means by letting go of your beliefs. He's talking in this specific instance about the first chakra and our sense of deservedness and belonging and of worthiness, that we are worthy of belonging, of connection, of radical prosperity. And that's our birthright. But in today's culture, and sometimes it's our family cultures, religious cultures, societal cultures, that is not the message that we receive. We receive messages that we are worth less, and if we have the right car or the right house or an X amount of dollars, that then we are worthy, and then we will fit in, and then we will be happy. So when he's talking about letting go of your beliefs, he's not talking about wholeheartedly all of them. He's talking about this belief that you are unworthy, or the programming that you've received through your experiences that is no longer serving you. So it's not a blanket statement of just drop everything. It's just, if you want things, if you're feeling unworthy, if you feel like you don't fit in, if you don't know who you are, if you feel unbalanced in your first chakra, then it can be helpful to let go of those self-limiting beliefs that have come in through whatever avenue they've come in through. I just wanted to elaborate a little bit on that. And now we'll rejoin Ramtin's class.
And if you don't connect with that energy, if you don't feel you deserve something, and you create blockages, then you get into that survival mode. Security and lack of stability become issues now. You don't feel that sense of belonging, right, to this earth. And a lot of us who are more sensitive, those who are able to connect with the other dimensions, past lives, they feel a little bit less feeling of belonging to this time and space right now. And therefore, they may have illnesses and pains and not being able to accomplish things, feeling out of place in their family, in their country, in this world, So that, they feel, they're scattered, sometimes that's how they come across, not able to focus, different, weird, whatever it is, right? But the fact is that, they haven't created the foundation for themselves, the first chakra, to be able to walk on this ground, on the earth, in a very firm way that I belong here. I am here for a reason. I chose to be here. However you connect with that, with your deservedness, that you deserve this. I belong here. I am part of this.
Jen, again here, I just want to say that listening to Ramtin describe the first chakra that way really resonates with me. I always felt a little bit out of place and like I didn't fit in and like I was strange. And through my practice of Kundalini yoga, have found my tribe, so to speak, and found the weirdos that are like me and who see the world in the same way that I do. And not only Kundalini yoga, but just people who are on this spiritual path. And it's been so validating and gratifying. But I hadn't yet made the connection to my need to strengthen my first chakra. I think on this spiritual path, we often prioritize the higher chakras. And those I'm really able to work with and visualize and have a great sense of. But as I'm listening to Ramtin speak, I'm having these realizations that I may need to refocus on my first and second chakra. As we transition back into Ramtin's class, he is elaborating on how some of those of us who are more sensitive or on the spiritual path have higher consciousness, how that can kind of set us up to not have a strong first chakra.
As someone who's, very considerate, that because you come from a higher consciousness, you're not too attached to the earthly matter. And sometimes it works, it kind of affects us in a negative way, because if you're too considerate, then you never take the step forward. You don't plant your feet, firmly that, I am, this is, I do belong, I do deserve this.
Here a student asks about people who feel entitled or who seem to feel like they deserve more than they've earned. And Ramtin talks about kind of the flip side if you have a quote-unquote overactive first chakra.
A very strong first chakra and it's overactive, right? And also in the second and third chakra, and then you stop there. You don't get into the heart chakra, right? To the sixth, to your sixth chakra, which is that third eye, that one, kind of divine mind really connecting to that through your gate. You stop right there and you have developed it. So yeah, so that means if that it is an overactive chakra, and that's the only thing I know. I haven't expanded my consciousness to connect to the universal consciousness, to that unity, that oneness. I don't chant Om Namo Gurudev Namo. I don't connect to that energy. I'm too much into my physical existence, to my earthly existence. And that there's an issue, survival, right? The reason I want I'm just, if I don't make it to the plane, my life, to this flight, my life is over, right? My goal here is more important than everybody else here. Yeah. I got to get to the front of the line. So yeah, and you're overdeveloped in that area. Naturally, you feel you're better. You feel you're better because the next person is, you see them as weak if they're scattered, if they don't step firmly on towards their goal and their path, if they're questioning their own ability, and if they deserve something, if they're good enough at something. If you're so connected, if you're so developed and sometimes overdeveloped in that area, and you just can't connect with that concept, how can you not, want this $1 million home? Or, that's why the conflict there. And naturally, you feel you're better. And that's some people, when they start on their path of spirituality and they connect, and they don't have their chakras in balance together, and they don't set a foundation, they jump into a practice, a modality that takes them momentarily connection to a higher consciousness, and now they're free and they're liberated and they're blessed and illuminated and they're better than everybody else. And they start judging everybody who drives a $1 million car or something. It's the same thing. Kundalini yoga practice, if you do it properly, consistently, it builds you from ground up, so to speak. And at the same time, you get that connection to the higher self. So it's that balance of the chakras and your whole system, your 10 bodies, your chakras, and every organ and your nervous system, and your concept of who you are. You become humble, strong, connected, wise, and all that at the same time.
Ramtin now transitions into talking about the characteristics associated with the first chakra.
The goal is stability, grounding, prosperity. And you define that for yourself. What is prosperity? It's not about just material things or money, which is part of it and is good. And so you need to, if you have a negative association with that word, well, don't use that word. It's just a word. We don't have money issues. We have association issues with money. If you don't have prosperity, you don't have money issues. You have issue with connecting with the flow of prosperity, that energy. Just change the money to cash flow. If that resonates better with you, and visualize that. But if money works for you, you love that word, use it as much as you can. And obviously, any physical health starts from there. Again, that foundation. So just to give you a point of reference, if any imbalances that are in the first chakra, it would affect obesity, constipation, sciatica, anorexia, knee troubles, bone disorders, and in general, if you feel like you get sick quickly and frequently. Any sense of insecurity, too self-indulgent, self-centered, needy, possessive, if you can't let go of grief, depression, being stuck in that mode, inability to focus, being spacey, as we talked about, all that, as you strengthen and balance the first chakra area, you're able to overcome those and address some of those things. So it's all connected, and you learn more about, again, for example, your feet, your legs, your feet, and the pelvic bone. That how it is, what is it you could do, and the deeper meaning of all that it has. Every bone of your body there's a meaning to it. There's an association of how it relates to your health, to your energy body, to your emotional body. So a lot of information there for you. The exercises that in Kundalini Yoga, there's so many things you could do for your first chakra. Anything that again relates to them. You're moving your feet, dancing, walking, running, walking purposefully, walking meditation. Now you add that, your breathing to your walking, becomes mindful walking.
Ramtin ends his class on the first chakra by demonstrating some of the Kundalini exercises that balance it. But here for the podcast, we are going to review the Mulbandh, which is the root lock, because this is often used in Kundalini Yoga. It's a great thing to review, and it also helps to balance the first three chakras, but we really associate it with that lower chakra because we're using the muscles in the area associated with the first chakra. So just a little background, the Mulbandh is a powerful contraction of the muscles along the pelvic floor. And what this does is it helps redirect our sexual energies, so the energy from our first two chakras, redirects them up into our higher chakras. It also helps to blend the prana and apana. So these are two energies. Prana is our life force. It's the generating energy. It brings life, brings in energy. The apana is our release valve. That's how we release information, release toxins, release what is no longer serving us. So this root lock blends the prana and apana around our navel center. And this is what opens the central channel of our body to allow the Kundalini energy, which is the energy of awareness or consciousness, to begin making its way up through our chakras, through our cerebral spinal fluid, kind of cycling up our system from our lower centers to our higher centers. So that's kind of what's going on. If that seems abstract or doesn't make sense to you, that's completely fine. Just do the Mulbandh, do the root lock, and see what sensations you experience. To begin, we'll just start with some long, deep breaths. So inhale deeply. Exhale completely. On your next inhale, check your posture. Lift up your heart, spread your shoulders up and back. Tuck your chin just slightly, pull it back so that you feel some space in the back of your neck. Continuing to inhale, lengthen the inhale and the exhale. And the exhale. If it's safe for you to do so, close your eyes, focus them at the third eye. And then on the next inhale, inhale deeply. Suspend the breath. And imagine you need to go to the restroom, both number 1 and number 2, and squeeze those muscles. You feel those muscles come up and in. Keep those muscles contracted and contract the muscles around your sex organs and your lower navel. So the whole base, like that whole bowl, is tightened and coming up. And then exhale and relax. Inhale deeply. Contract again. Try to keep your shoulders and the rest of your body relaxed. Try to isolate that pelvic floor. Exhale. Inhale. Contract. See if you can feel energy starting to spiral up the center of your body to move out the crown of the head, keeping the eyes at the third eye. Exhale. Inhale. Pull that root lock. Exhale. Beautiful. Keep inhaling and exhaling, pulling up. This exercise helps mix the energies of prana and apana, like I said. It helps direct the energy upward through your physical body and your chakras in a moderate, stable, and balanced way. Let's do a couple more breaths. Inhaling deeply, pulling Mulbandh. Exhale completely. Inhaling deeply. As you contract those muscles, you'll feel a slight lift and rotation of your pubic bone. Exhale. Okay. Relax the Mulbandh and just take a couple of breaths. Check in to see if you felt anything. Felt any energy shift, any energy rise as a result of practicing Mulbandh. And when you're ready, you can blink your eyes open. Excellent job. When you apply Mulbandh consciously and correctly, it is said to untie the knot of Brahma. The knot of Brahma is located in your first chakra at the base of your spine. And when it is untied and the energy is flowing smoothly, you feel balanced and free from your attachments to form and to the senses. So it's a liberating experience, liberating you from your attachment. Excellent work on that exercise, on practicing Mulbandh. So there's no download, nothing to do at the end of this episode. If you could just continue to rate and review and share our podcast, we would deeply appreciate it. We would love to get on the new and noteworthy part of iTunes. And so if you can support us by rating, reviewing, and sharing, that would be amazing. Have a wonderful week, and we love you. May the longtime sun shine upon you and all love surround you. Sat Nam.